How you doing? This is Black Shy Guy here. Welcome once again to another podcast episode. Thank you for joining me. And as always, I hope your week is going well. And also, to double it up, I thank you for sitting at my table. We got a lot of things to catch up on in this episode. There was a lot of interesting things happening when it comes to Candace Owens. And when it comes to the Fresh and Fit podcast, I got my freaking bones to pick with them. And I know a lot of people is going to be like, oh, Shy Guy, here you go again. Listen, it's my opinion. It's my thoughts about the situation. It's my thoughts about that podcast going downhill for the simple fact that any challenge that they receive from someone who can actually carry an intellectual conversation gets friend castled in the end. They choose not to go against that challenge. They choose to ignore it because the simple fact that a young woman comes onto the show. Let me not even go there right now. We're going to discuss that show, but I want to dive into this situation right here. I want to go into this situation. If you didn't listen to my last podcast episode, make sure you take a look at it. Make sure you take a listen to it as well, because I am going to put up the video of that podcast sometime tomorrow, and I'm going to put the video of this podcast up right behind it. So make sure you keep an eye on the YouTube channel. But I want to touch on this situation right here. Unfortunately, this sad situation that has happened, and I did have a conversation about this situation in my last podcast episode. It's involving this young man who took the life of Ryan, the person who a lot of people are calling an activist. Look how young this young gentleman looks. Look how young he looks. I mean, it's crazy. The murderers are getting younger and younger by the day. They're getting younger and younger by the day. It boggles my mind how young they're getting. And a lot of people are saying, well, what's his upbringing? How many parents he has in his life? Who cares? Who cares how many parents he has? He took the life of someone. And he took it in such a tragic manner. He basically plunged the knife in the heart of this individual. In the heart. The knife pierced the heart. And on top of that, he stomps the young gentleman and spits at his girlfriend. This guy deserves life imprisonment. I don't care how young he is. Look how young he is. And out of all the questions they want to ask him, this is the question they ask him. Look at this guy. This guy wants to pound him to the ground. Oh, my God. I don't blame him. We already discussed this situation. In my last podcast. We actually did discuss the situation in my last podcast, but we're not going to dive into it right now for the simple fact that, hey, it is what it is. There's a lot of how can I say? A lot of life learned lessons you could take from this video. There's no way you should be out that late with your girlfriend dressed in that manner and not taking an Uber instead. Why would you be out taking the bus? I mean, if you're alone, you're a man. If you're alone, so be it. You know what I mean? You're a man. You know what you're getting yourself into. And if something pops off, you got to take situations into your own hands to defend yourself. But when you're with your lady, take an Uber, man. Because you don't want to put her in any type of situation where she's left to defend herself. You know what I mean? So if you want to find out the details I spoke about when it comes to this podcast, make sure you take a listen to in the last episode. All right? But look how young this guy looks. So young. So freaking young. Just threw his life away. It's over. It is what it is. I mean, I hope he gets life in prison. I really do. I hope he gets life in prison. I hope he doesn't see the light of day. I hope, and I don't want to hear people saying, "Oh, he's so young." I don't care. I don't care how young he is. I don't care how young he is. He deserves life in imprisonment, not to see the light of day. Period. I mean, to do that, it's what he did afterwards. It's what he did afterwards that boggles my mind. You stomp him and then you spit at his girlfriend. Get out of here. Get out of here. But Candace Owens, if you don't know who Candace Owens is, she works for the Daily Wire and she's a spokesperson. She talks about political situations and stuff like that. But she was at a Live Free Tour event. And it's so funny what she said to the student who questioned her about her appearance when it came to the Live Free Tour. I want you guys to take a look at the rebuttal Candace Owens gave her. This is the situation right here. This lady asks her a question, but listen to Candace's rebuttal. It is so funny. I'm not going to lie to you. It is.
What do you have to say to the trans students on this campus who actively feel victimized by your presence here today? Additionally, you just pointed out that this man detransitioned, but earlier in your speech...
Guys, I want to hear her. Go ahead. What do I have to say? Just the question, please. No speech.
Yeah,
what is the question?
What do you have to say to the trans students on this campus who feel actively victimized by your presence here?
Life's tough. Get a helmet, man. I'm too pregnant for this. Next question.
Life's tough. Get a helmet. You feel me? Get out of here with that. Get out of here with that. Come on now. Come on now. Come on. Life's tough. Get a helmet. Get a helmet. You know what I mean? That is so funny. I would never I seriously would never forget that right there. That is funny. If you don't find that funny, I don't know what to tell you. I really don't know what to tell you if you don't find that funny right there. Because that right there is funny as hell. That right there is funny as hell. I mean, these kids are so entitled these days. So entitled. So entitled. I mean, there's a lot more that was said in that Live Free Tour with Candace Owens. If you want to check that out, go to her podcast. Because we're about to dive into the main situation that we all came to talk about when it comes to the Fresh and Fit podcast. I don't know how a lot of you guys can watch that podcast. I gotta be honest with you. Because at first, when they first came out, it was interesting because people were able to debate. People were going back and forth. But it came to the point that Myron does not want to challenge. Fresh, I'm not even going to mention him because he sucks when it comes to the conversation. When he steps into the conversation, it's dull as hell. I prefer Fresh just stay quiet, honestly. If you think I'm insulting him, then so be it. But he's just uninteresting to listen to. He's not interesting at all to listen to. But we're going to dive into this podcast. We're going to dive into this situation in particular that happened in this podcast, okay? This situation in particular that happened in this podcast that I have to admit, it's not a good look for the Fresh and Fit podcast. It's not a good look for the Fresh and Fit podcast. It's not. I mean, if you really want to be honest, I don't know why Myron does not want to I don't know, to have a very decent debate. A decent debate when it comes to a conversation. Why does he not want to be challenged is my question. Why does he not want to be challenged? Why every time someone who can actually bring an intellectual conversation in the midst of all those ladies who don't have a brain cell, because we all know the type of ladies he brings into the show. Ladies that can't debate him. That's the type of ladies that he brings into the show. Whether he brings them in intentionally or unintentionally, it happens. Ladies can't debate him. But when a lady who can actually debate him comes to the show, he wants to Frank Castle them, meaning he wants to kick them off the show. And so does his chat, which brings a boring conversation afterwards because no one combats him. Why would you want a show like that? It's boring. It's boring when you don't have someone else who can battle you and have an intellectual conversation, something that has meaning. Let's take a look at this particular situation that happened in the last podcast episode when it comes to Fresh and Fit, right? So this so-called 3 or 4 that they call her, right, had stats that she did not look up herself, may I add. Let me add that clearly, okay? She did not make up these stats. She looked them up, which is located in the Forbes site. They have a statistics when it comes to divorce, and that's what she was talking about. She was bringing up that number continuously when it came to Myron and his statistics. To battle Myron's statistics, she was bringing up the statistics that she did, that she looked up. Not that she made up, but that she looked up. And this was the outcome. Let's continue with this podcast.
The highest rate women.
No, that's divorce rate's 50%. So how could that be the highest rate? That doesn't even make sense.
Is he talking about
I think
college?
he's saying people who have a
educated?
college
No,
degree.
he's saying college. If you have a college degree, they're the highest.
They're not.
I'm sure
See, this is why. This is why. I'll be honest,
yeah,
dude. Like, this is why I haven't been engaging with you because you say a bunch of bullshit, man.
She says a whole bunch of bullshit, right? She says a whole bunch of bullshit. And it's not bullshit. It's bullshit that she looked up, which is not bullshit. It's Forbes. It's the Forbes statistics when it comes to divorce. When it comes to divorce. Myron didn't want to look it up for some odd reason. Obviously because it combats his narrative. And it gets him into a situation that he has to battle her. He has to challenge her. Myron is very intelligent. I don't know why he's scared to battle her. Maybe he can crush her to the ground with his statistics. But he could have taken up that challenge. But he chose to Frank Castle her. But before that happened, let's continue with the situation at hand.
No, I'm not.
I'm sure
I'm going to show you
this-
right after
this
the
link
show.
don't-
You've
help your
literally
argument.
made like on the last show, you just made a bunch of like claims,
I did,
etc.
though.
You took about an hour, 2 hours almost.
Yeah, and it's,
I hate when I hate when Fresh chimes in. Because I don't know why Fresh chimes in. Because Fresh, you are good when it comes to bringing guests onto the show. You are good behind the scenes, but you suck when it comes to the round table and when it comes to conversations. You suck. So when a woman comes who can actually have a battle with Myron, who can actually have a decent conversation, who can actually have her own rebuttal that makes sense, even though she looked up those statistics, she didn't conjure it up on her own, and make the show even more interesting to watch, you have no right to say anything, Fresh, because I swear to God, if you were the one on the show alone, nobody would watch it. Nobody would watch it. I'm going to tell you that right now. You're a good team. I have to admit, you and Myron are a good team. But you suck when it comes to conversations, so you have no say-so on this. She had statistics that can actually battle Myron, and Myron chose not to engage. That's what happened in this podcast episode. And what boggles my mind is that Myron was agreeing with the chat to kick her off. Why? Because you guys don't want to watch an intellectual conversation. You guys don't want to watch someone who can actually back up the statistics that she looked up on Forbes, which is backed up by Forbes. Why not? Why not look up? Why not look it up? Why not just look it up?
it's like you just like we're arguing to argue. Like
I'm not though.
I get it. You're here to promote your OnlyFans and everything else like that.
promote my
But
Yeah, you are.
if you're gonna make
These-
ridiculous, stat claims or whatever,
These are like just look up Forbes 2023 stats.
We're on a show.
Okay,
We're
that's fine.
looking at
I'll
right
show
now.
you after.
All right, cool. We don't want to see, but okay.
it's
Okay.
I'll show you after.
Let's just move on.
it's not about. It's like we've seen multiple sources that show that like college educated women.
Initiate divorce, yes.
Yes.
But they're less likely to be in the group that's getting divorced. That's what I'm trying to tell you. And you say Destiny watched a reel of me saying that last time, and he messaged me like, "Oh my God, they always fuck up that stat." That's what I'm
And
telling you.
and
But
right
okay.
there,
I don't want to like.
right
interrupt.
there. If Destiny said the same thing, then you know then you know the statistics may be accurate, because Destiny is really good at looking up the statistics and following up on it to see if they're true. Destiny has a real talent for that. I may not agree with Destiny's life choices and his lifestyle, but Destiny is one hell of a debater. And the fact that she's quoting what Destiny is saying has some meat on it. But no, chat doesn't want an intellectual conversation. Chat wants the only one who can battle Myron and have a decent conversation with Myron. That's the person they want out. That's the person they want on the show. You know why? Because all they want is for Myron to crush the rest of the panel. The rest of the panel who don't have any type of rebuttal to go against Myron. Because they're quiet on the table, and the only thing they can say is, I have an OnlyFans, I show nude pics, etc. But the only one who can bring up an interesting conversation, which is her, they want them off the show. Boggles my mind. And let me bring it up to you guys. Because this is the statistics. I'm bringing it up. This is the statistics. Oh my God, my freaking lips is going crazy. That she wanted Myron to look up, which combats his narrative. All right, because obviously the marriages that have a highest rate of divorce are third attempt marriages. Many people accept it as facts that half of all marriages end in divorce, but as mentioned above, this applies only to first marriages. Those who wed multiple times face a far higher rate of divorce. In fact, 67% of second marriages end, and 73% of third marriages dissolve. 40% of new marriages include a partner who's remarrying. The majority of marriages are first marriage for both partners, but as many as 20% of unions involve one person who has been married before, while another 20% are repeat marriage for both parties. These are the statistics that she wanted Myron to look up. These are the statistics. Top reasons for divorce: lack of commitment, infidelity, or extramarital affairs, religious differences, little or no premarital education. These are the statistics, the numbers that are being showed. These are the numbers that she wanted Myron to look up, and for some odd reason, they had a problem with looking up these statistics. How long divorce takes and how many marriages end in divorce. Look, I mean, key divorce statistics in 2023. In 2021, a total of 689,308 divorces occurred across the 45 U.S. states that report this number. During that same year, marriage occurred during the U.S. marriage rate, 6 per 1,000 people, which is not bad. Far more people get married over the course of each year than get divorced. So see, far more people get married over the course of each year than get divorced. See, Myron don't want to quote that because it defeats his narrative. Even though marriage, in my opinion, like I've always stated, it is a risk to men. That I don't disagree when it comes to fresh and fit. I do not agree with that. But many who divorce don't give up on the institution of marriage, though. A total of 64% of men and 54% of women get married again after their marriage has ended. These are all the numbers she was quoting. All the numbers that she was quoting, okay? And that's the numbers they did not want to get into. They did not want to get into it for some odd reason. But let's continue. All right? You guys don't... Let's continue.
Like, did you actually wake up and read all those articles?
I like to read a lot.
And look, I hate when the girls on the show. I'm going to say this. I hate when the girls on the show go against the girl who actually could combat Myron in a decent conversation. It's like they get mad. Oh my God, she's stealing the show. She's actually intelligent. She's actually has rebuttals to go against Myron. She's actually stealing the spotlight from me. Me, who's just going to sit here and look pretty and talk about my OnlyFans. I'm going to go against her. I'm going to question her on the reasons to why she looks up all these statistical numbers and actually comes to the show prepared. Boggles my mind. It's stupidity. Let's continue.
She really does.
Yeah, I do. I do my
I'm
research.
just a question.
Yeah, I actually do.
Yeah.
Okay.
You argue in bad faith.
I don't.
And like I said before, they've been throwing, and they've sent me this thing a million times, and it's just like, yo, they literally get frustrated, and they're like, I'm surprised that you're even here, to be honest.
Who cares the chat gets frustrated? Who cares? Who cares the chat gets frustrated? What does the chat want? They want a boring show? Is that what they want? Then so be it. Kick out everyone who has a rebuttal against you, Myron. Kick out everyone who has a rebuttal against you. The only one who doesn't kick out, who has a rebuttal against him, is Destiny. When Destiny actually joins the Fresh and Fit podcast, which I doubt that's ever going to happen again, because Destiny has said that he's done with these red pills. He's done with them. So we may not see him ever back on the Fresh and Fit podcast, which is unfortunate. But the fact that there are girls who come who could actually battle, and I'm talking about the intelligent girls, because I'm not talking about girls who come on a show and they just run their mouth rampage in their ghetto and they don't have no statistical numbers that can actually combat Myron's narrative. I'm talking about girls who actually have statistical numbers that they looked up that can actually back up what they're saying, and which combats Myron's narrative. People who can actually make sense when they speak. Why does he kick those ladies out is what I'm saying. I'm not talking about all the other ladies. I'm not talking about the hood rats that he throws out. There are some hood rats that he throws out, which makes sense. But this lady right here was interesting. And this is not her first appearance. This is her second appearance. In her first appearance, it was a fun podcast to watch because her and Myron was going back and forth. I wanted to see that again. And the fact that he removed that opportunity pisses me off, because after he removed her, none of the other girls had any battle against Myron. None of them were going against him, really. They were very short in what they were saying, and all of them were going against her when she left. Oh, I don't know. She spoke a lot. I mean, she made the show uninteresting instead. It was stupid.
Yeah. Anyway.
All right, let's move on. Because time's ticking.
Yeah.
All right. Any more, Chris? Or Mo?
Yeah, we do, but we have a screen share problem. So.
Yeah, you gave me 3 seconds. The screen's
Okay.
gonna go black.
AG says, Myron, fake lawyer is being very disrespectful to the podcast. She's lying about her credentials. Pseudo-scientific studies. Frank Castle.
I have my bar card in my purse.
She
I can
has
show
her.
you
She
people
has her
out there.
papers to show that she is who she says she is. So I don't understand. If they want to prove her wrong, why didn't Myron say, "Show me your papers right now so I can tell the chat that you're actually telling the truth"? No, they don't want to give her no opportunity to prove that she is who she says she is. They don't want to give her no opportunity to do that. I'm telling you, they don't want their narrative challenged. They don't. Once it's challenged, they get in their feelings, and they want to Frank Castle a person. It pisses me off to no end why they do this.
Like, I'm not lying. She knows me. I'm a lawyer.
All right, man. I'll just give it to the chat. Chat, what do y'all want? You guys want her off the show? I'll let them make the choice here.
You know what they're gonna say? They're gonna say they want her off the show, man. That's not bullshit.
Because they're really annoyed with you. I'll be honest with you.
But she speaks English.
Exactly.
Yeah,
They don't like.
Because she speaks English and she's intelligent. She's able to look up statistics and back them up and go against Myron and his narrative, and actually can make sense to why she believes those numbers over Myron, who always says from the beginning of time. That's not a statistical number when you say since the beginning of time. That's what he always says. It's stupid.
Like that.
Sometimes it's
A
better.
lot of English.
They don't, yeah.
speak.
I don't think his chat likes it.
What's the chat saying?
Raw dog.
Oh, one, get the fuck out, leave. It's
the whole
it's
time.
gonna be
Ones, yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
past-
Yeah, like I said, and that's kind of
try-
why I didn't engage, because I'm just.
I'll send them to you on
They got
Instagram.
really
Yes,
annoyed and
'cause
frustrated with her on the last
Chad
show, but yeah, dude.
don't
Yeah,
want
I'll
her.
send them to you, and I'll post them on my Instagram too right now. You guys can come check it out.
Oh my gosh.
Well, the chat has
Fresh.
spoken. Yeah, they want.
Yeah.
Fresh, shut your damn mouth, Fresh. Shut your damn mouth. She's way more interesting to listen to than you. Fresh, shut your mouth. You're not interesting to listen to whatsoever. At all. You're not interesting whatsoever to listen to. So I hate his little... Let's continue. Let me calm down. let's continue.
Yeah,
Gone.
that's fair.
So, not impersonal, but yeah, you do hurt the quality of the show. So
Yes,
I'm
she hurts the quality of the show.
No,
it's
hella
ones, dude. It's all ones, and they've been doing it the whole time. So no, it's not about that. You argue in bad faith. Yeah. Okay. So
It's locals here.
yeah,
Wow.
and I get it. You got to mark your OnlyFans and everything else like that. But it's like, Jesus Christ, man.
To all the non-married women, since you failed in every relationship,
Unbelievable. And I guess, I don't know if that was the end, but I mean, when she left, to me, the show was uninteresting to watch. It was a joke of the podcast. I mean, this is what I'm talking about. When they're challenged, they don't want no part of it. They don't want no part of it. I remember when the podcast first started, it was interesting. It wasn't kicking as much people out. But now, every time Myron is challenged by someone who can actually have an intellectual conversation and he kicks her out, it makes him look weak. It does. It makes him look weak. And Myron is very intelligent. I don't know why he just doesn't challenge her on her narrative. Just challenge her, Myron. You're a very intelligent person. You're not fresh. I'm sorry. Whether that's insulting to your boy or not, you're not fresh. You can actually have a conversation. You're actually interesting to listen to. So when you combat her, just like it was in the first time she showed up on your podcast in that last episode, it was interesting to watch because you guys going back and forth made the show way more interesting. Myron, when you don't have somebody who can go back and forth with you, when you're constantly just pounding on the opposition and they have no rebuttal, it's boring. It's boring. Uninteresting to watch. Let me know what you guys think. Let me know what you guys think. Let me know if you agree with me or not, or if I'm wilding out. Let me know. Let me know either on my Instagram or either on the comments down below in this YouTube video, all right? And for the people who are just listening to it in the podcast, chime in on the comments on the YouTube video. Make sure you visit my YouTube channel so you can comment on your perspective when it comes to this situation. All right, this is Black Shy Guy, and as always, I thank you for sitting on my table. Damn, I've been all tongue tied in this freaking episode because I'm just amped up, man. I'm just so upset. But anyway, thank you. I really appreciate your support. I'm out of here. Peace.
Arch criminal who must be put away. Another innocent victim of suicidal maniac.